What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 5 different Grayscale trusts today. We're going to talk about LTCN and BCHG at the request of Kevbo. Then we're going to talk about ETCG at the request of Jack on the box, HZen for Brian, and ZCSH for Cal. If that sounds good to you guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. So looking at LTCN, and I think we should actually pull up LTC here as well. Right. Get it going. Sitting at 130, huh? Still hanging on to a thread here. Litecoin's about to correct, you guys. In case it's not increasingly obvious as the days go on, it's about to correct. If we're looking at a 4-hour basis, the RSI I think is very telling. We've broken out of this upward trend here. We're definitely in a downward sloping trend now, rejecting the overbought zone, living below the 60, getting below the 50 finally. Yeah, we just found support on the 40, which we found support on the last few times, which is nice. Let's see where it takes us. My theory is it takes us right here where we form another lower high on this whole series down to probably the oversold zone, in which case we see some kind of corrective move. And I think it'll probably start today. It probably starts today, which means LTCN will probably start moving down today as well. So if we take the overall high to low, and actually I don't know if I want to take that fib. That one says $97, just so we know, but I want to take this fib. This fib says $104. So I think 97, 104 makes sense, but probably above 100. I doubt Litecoin breaks 100. It could go below 100, and if it does, it's not time to shit your pants. Okay, it's okay. It's totally fine. We're at 130 now. We're probably going to see a little pullback from here, down to about $104, $105. Something like that is what my expectation is. And then we'll move up. It's glorious. It's fine. In fact, that's a very modest high to low drop. That's a very, very modest drop for Litecoin. 28.9%, that's nothing, man. That's nothing. Anybody having a hard time believing that Litecoin could drop to $100, it could drop below $100, and literally it could go down to 96 bucks, right? 35% of a drop overall. If you're having a hard time believing that, let's go to the last cycle. Last cycle here, right? From a high point to a low point of that week, we dropped 31%. From a high point here of this week to that low point over there, we dropped 25% in the course of 2 weeks, right? From this high point here to that low point there, we dropped 40% in 1 week. High point to low point here, we dropped 38% in 1 week. High point to low point here, we dropped 38% in 1 week. And then here, also high point to low point, we dropped 27% in 1 week. Look at all these drops we had, all these just somewhat significant drops we had in the course of, like this amount of time. And then we also, throughout that whole time, pumped 900% LTC itself. So on that whole pump, you had a bunch of smaller dumps, is all I'm trying to say. Calling for a 35 to 29% pullback overall. I don't think I'm being crazy. I don't think so, man. $104, pulling back to your previous areas that you found resistance at, breaking out of this zone, pulling back to where you found resistance before, and then moving up. I don't think that's crazy, personally. That and right back to where these weekly closing highs are. I mean, we've done it. We've literally done it before, actually. But anyways, I'm focusing too much on Litecoin. So if Litecoin's going to drop overall, I'm expecting at least from here, from its current price, at least a 20% drop. Then I think it's safe to assume that LTCN could drop a similar amount, right? But the thing is, for LTCN, lately, when Litecoin is neutral, even if it moves up 2%, LTCN can drop 10%. If Litecoin drops 2% in a day, LTCN drops like 15% a day. So if LTC is dropping 20%, could that mean LTCN drops 40%? It could, but I don't think it will. I have been saying this for LTCN and BCHG, that especially since we had like last month end, that you've seen this disparity between the two, where the underlying assets are growing and the Grayscale trusts are not growing. They're even losing value, right? That separation, that distance will narrow. The trusts will they'll start to catch up. And when they start to catch up, they don't stop till they're caught up and exceeded, right? So we might do this thing, as weird as it might be, where Litecoin drops and LTCN could still move up. We might do this thing, as weird as it could be, where Litecoin drops 20% and LTCN only drops 10%. Because it is playing this game of catch-up. It is going to outperform Litecoin from here on out. It is going to. Like, when I say from here on out, I mean like from here until the end of January is what my thoughts are. And if it's going to outperform Litecoin, then that does leave the door open to outperforming it on drops too. I think we're going to get something a little bit different with this drop, and we'll see. It remains to be seen, right? But I'm just expecting that Litecoin drops 20%. I'm not expecting that LTCN drops more than 20% is kind of my expectation. But being where you are in this kind of trend, you tell me, would it make sense to go down? I think it would. I think it would. You were overbought, or not overbought, but you're up in this area trying to get overbought and you just didn't do it. I bet you come down. You look like you want to rip, man. You're so close to seeing a phenomenal run with LTCN, but this underlying asset getting hurt, it's going to put this on pause for a second, and that's okay. Definitely looks like a breakout move in LTCN. That looks like a breakout move 100%. It's very common after you break out to back test your breakout zone and then move up from there. So looking at it on a weekly basis, your breakout zone is here. That's a 22% drop. I'm expecting about a 20% drop for Litecoin, so that makes sense. LTCN's at 22.25. This is not me saying sell Litecoin. This is not some facetious undercover, under the radar way of me trying to avoid getting sued for financial advice by saying that you should not sell Litecoin. I'm not being tricky. I'm being very honest and genuine when I say do not sell LTCN. Yes, I very much do expect the price of LTCN to go back below 18 bucks. I do. But you sell here, LTC drops, and watch LTCN pump. Because again, it has to play catch up. Watch it happen. We've seen it happen before. It's not common. It is rare, but it does happen sometimes where the trust moves up and the native asset moves down or is stagnant. Watch you sell it here. The price goes down here exactly where you wanted to buy, but you didn't buy, and then the price pumps back up, and now you're like, oh, I'll just wait for it to pull back a little bit so I can make it worth my while, and then it doesn't, and then it's up without you. Don't play the game. Just don't play the game. Don't sell here. I'm calling for the price to move back. Don't sell. It's better to just buy. You want to sell, do it when we're at new all-time highs. Do it there, right? Do it when we're at least above these highs, right? Now's not the time to sell. Now is the time to accumulate, my friends. So with that, I'll probably end this LTCN part of the video. We'll move on. But I am expecting, again, a move probably just below 18 bucks. I don't think we really go below 17 bucks, but if we were to go lower, I mean, I suppose $13, $14, like just below $14 would be the lowest that we could go. You know, just form another higher low in this situation, but I don't think we'll do that. I think this time, because I do think we're on that precipice of breaking out, I think this weekly look tells us that we're breaking out right now, volume and all. It looks right. You're so ready to go. I think we're going to get that confirmation in this drop, because each one of these drops that we had, they all took us to this line. This drop will not take us to this line, and that's my theory. It'll be the first one to not do that. So I got nothing else to say for LTCN. Let's move on. BCHG. Talking about it here, looking at this one, we can pull up the underlying asset as well, BCH USD. I did just make a video on this, so I'm pretty well versed in what my thoughts are for BCH. We're at $611 right now. I believe with a very high degree of probability that we will see prices around 470. I would say anywhere from like 460 to 490. Okay, so from the current price, it's about a 23% drop, and I'd say all the same rules that I laid out for LTCN apply here, right? You can see BCHG pump first, and then it drops. I don't know, but a 20% drop for BCHG, that basically take it back to about, what is that, $7.40. Does that price make sense beyond just like an overall pullback estimation with BCH to BCHG? If we put a line right there, look at that. Comes in line pretty well with this area of support over here, pretty well with this area of resistance, and in fact, it would make more sense to go just a little bit lower, wouldn't it? Maybe down to 707, and then that would be a higher low, right, in this series of higher lows that we have here. It would make total sense to do that, I think. And then also, not only that, but like one last little kind of fill on this gap over here. It's already filled, obviously, but just sometimes with big gaps like this, you interact with it a lot. Sometimes that happens, right? It's kind of like you have to scrub it out. I don't know how else to put it, but I would expect BCHG to pull back to $7. You're at 932 now. Again, that's not me saying sell. This isn't some facetious undercover secret code way of me telling you to sell by saying not sell. No, I mean it. Don't sell. Right? Because you never know when these things can take off, and then you're playing the buyback game, and that's never fun, dude. That is such a bad position to be in. We're in buy more territory. We're in buy the dip territory. The dip is yet to come, but it is coming. I would expect it probably takes all of next week. And when I say all of next week, I just mean we're not going to be moving up next week. We're going to be moving down. But we could move down. We could see this low come in early. It could take like the first 2 days. I doubt it all happens on Monday. I doubt it's like such a big drop that it happens on Monday, but it could. But probably more likely like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when I would expect to find the low. If it doesn't happen this week, I would think sometime very early next week, but certainly before Christmas is what I'm expecting. I mean, I suppose it could take 2 weeks, but I don't think it will. But anyways, BCHG moving down a little bit, and then we could talk about the upside. That's all I really wanted to say with this, right? It makes sense BCH is going to move down. It would make sense that BCHG moves down. And if I'm expecting BCH to drop about 23%, I think we could see the same thing in BCHG, and that takes us to these previous areas of resistance, previous areas of support, resistance here. It makes sense on a price scale. It makes sense on a logic scale using the BCH to BCHG kind of metric here. Dropping about 23% would take you just below $7. So you're at 931 now. I bet you do drop right around 7, but probably just below $7. That's my thoughts. ETCG is the next one. ETCG here, looking great. Looking really good. And actually, I want to go Grayscale. I want to see what the premium is, because it's still on discount, right? Yeah, NAV price per share $31. Market price is $17. It's the only Grayscale that the NAV price is like dramatically higher than the market price, and I don't know why. None of us know, man. Assets under management. Is that how much they have in ETCG, or is that just assets under management total? Like, that's got to be in ETC. Do they just have that much ETC? They'd have to. No, they have that much ETC. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. What? Hold on. I'm getting off track here, but this is a Grayscale video, right? You're all Grayscale nerds, so you'll appreciate this. Look at this. What? Did you guys know this? Did you know that Grayscale has like twice as much ETC as they do LTC? Were you aware of this? I wasn't aware of this until just now. That's crazy, y'all. Maybe we got to look at ETC. Maybe they know something we don't know. They're just a humongous financial player in the crypto space. What about BCHG? We're going on a little detour here for funsies. Dude, what the hell? You guys, how come Grayscale has so much ETC? Is that why it's at a discount? Are they just like selling it off? Is that what it is? Did they just bite off more than they could chew? What the hell? I'm curious. Hold on. One more thing. I'm sorry. We're going on a little detour here. I didn't know this. Maybe you guys know this because, like I said, you're Grayscale nerds, so you guys are all obsessed and everything with it, right? I didn't know. I really didn't know. Where are we at here? Where is it? Assets under management. Where are we at? Total Ether in trust. Oh, that's how much Ether's in it. Okay. Assets under management. Okay, there we go. Billions. Okay. All right. Well, that I should have expected, but I'm just curious too, man. I'll do this in my own time. I'm having too much fun. You guys are watching, and I appreciate that. I don't want to waste any more of your time. You can do it in your own time if you want, but that's interesting. It really makes me wonder if there's something more to ETC than meets the eye, because again, these guys they're in charge of billions of dollars, and they custodialize for very like big, very large account. Like they're not a small fry in this space, you guys. And ETC, you look at ETC's chart, the all-time history chart at least. Is that the all-time history on Coinbase too? Oh wow, that's nice. Okay, yeah, it's a very bullish chart overall, right? Very bullish, cycle after cycle. Like, this is a coin that everybody thought was just a joke and that it was some old obsolete Ethereum coin, right? And like kind of it is, but it's still being worked on, and the chart looks really good, honestly. But let's get to the TA here. I'm sorry. hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the detour. If you didn't, I don't blame you for hating me. All right, so from from a high to a low, he did something really weird, which is you just tore through everything, like literally everything, man. Literally everything. It's crazy. Very crazy. Very, very bullish. Absolutely bullish. You probably find resistance here. I mean, if you don't, dude, we might all have to buy some ETC. I might have to sell everything I own and just buy ETC because this is insane. It's actually insane. I'm going to do a lot of research tonight on ETC, you guys, because like, what does Grayscale know that I don't know? And sometimes people make their own decisions and it doesn't play out. Like, don't think there's something special about ETC just because Grayscale has a lot of ETC. But it is kind of interesting. I thought that was weird. Anyways, volume dying off a little bit. Pumping as you're pumping, that's nice. It's definitely good looking volume, good looking reads. But you're overbought for a little while. Coming out of it now, maybe. Looking at the 4 hour, it would make sense that you go down a little bit. So you probably do. Do you though? Do you? You had previous areas of resistance. I bet you do. I bet you come back down. So let's call for that. You're at 36 bucks now. I bet ETC probably pulls back at least to 32.50, if not all the way back down to like 27, 28 bucks. So that's, anything from like a 10% drop to like a 23% drop, and that's pretty on par with what I'm expecting for the rest of the market. So ETCG probably does pull back as well. If you look at ETCG, maybe it opens up the week up a little bit, but it probably finds resistance in this zone as it did before these 3 times, as it kind of did right here, as it did here, right, as it found support in this zone. Somewhat significant area through this thing's life. You're pretty overbought on the weekly. It would make sense that you pull back a little bit. And then the daily RSI is showing some bearish divergence too. So I definitely do believe you'll correct. I'm curious, where was ETC at the end of the week for this thing? We look at Friday. Friday it pumped, and now you're down a little bit. Okay, so maybe ETCG doesn't pump to open up the day. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but either way, it's probably going to pull back pretty soon. I would expect ETCG pulls back to about 1325 to 1565, somewhere in that range. Probably closer to 1325, 1425, somewhere in that zone is what I'm thinking. Yeah, ETCG. You could go as low. It wouldn't surprise me if you did go as low as like just below $13. So don't be sad if you do that. All right, that's ETCG. Let's move on from there. HSEN. HSEN, like how much HSEN do they have? Right? HSEN, Grayscale. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, not nearly as much ETC, right? That's crazy. What about how much SOL they got? How much SOL? G-SOL. What? Am I not allowed? I'm sorry, and I'm not sorry that I'm taking you guys with me on this little adventure here. Nope. Okay, so that was a waste of time. G-SOL, Grayscale. Are we talking about G-SOL in this one? We're not. We're not going to talk about G-SOL in this one. No one requested it, so I'm not going to make it longer than I need to, as I'm making it longer than I need to. That's just so weird. Like, how do you have this much G-SOL, but you have almost 3 times as much, a little bit over 3 times as much in ETC? That's just crazy. How have I not known this? Anyways, let's move on. Zen. And I hope nobody's hearing this and hearing like, C-Zar's tripped up on this. He can't believe it. I should put all my money in ETC or ETCG. I hope nobody's hearing that and going that. I just think it's odd. I don't think it's like, oh, we found the glitch in the matrix. This is going to make us. I mean, maybe. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm not going off of that right now, right? So anybody who's thinking that, just hold your horses. It's odd. That's all I can say is it's just odd. But sometimes people do odd things, we got one of the wealthiest men in the world, Elon Musk, who's invested in Dogecoin, right? And he's the reason why Dogecoin pumped as much as it did last cycle. So odd things happen, even from smart people. Was it the best coin to invest in last cycle? Yeah, but doesn't mean it had to be. Anyways, low to high. Low to high, 382 pulled back. Nice support there. Went all the way up to your 069. I like it. I definitely believe that's your low. I don't believe you're going to go lower than that. Zen, let's look at the underlying asset here. Daily, looks like you want to turn around. Yeah, volume dying down. As you're moving up, you're kind of doing this thing that a lot of things do. It's probably more obvious on the 4 hour. Yeah. Where when you're done with the move, but you just like don't want to let it go, you kind of like round off. Anytime you see this structure, and it's always from the low, don't focus on the highs, because the highs will throw you off, right? If you have a rounding high but the lows look like this, like if the highs are rounded but the lows are like coming in like this, it'll throw you off. You want to focus on the lows. If it's curving like this, and not always, but a good bit of the time you get this kind of curve, you get like a pretty steep drop off normally, right? Because you're like hanging on. You wanted to drop. You made it clear that you wanted to drop here, but you just didn't, because you just didn't have the conviction. And then finally it comes through, and like it's like I don't know, water escaping a dam. Gravity takes over and you just flood through. But you're at 1685 right now. Given the overall dynamics of the market, I would expect you to see a pretty significant retracement from here, probably all the way down to your 382. Yeah, so you're at 1685, probably down to about 1250 is where you're going to go. I think so. That's on par with everything else. You could go even a little lower, maybe as low as like 1185. But let's say you do a 26% drop. If you do a 26% drop, HZen might do that same thing. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. 236 right there. Dude, I want to buy some HZen. This thing, it's like you're pulling back to your 236, and that's already a 34% drop. That's crazy. I can't wait to see what you do whenever you extend further. I do believe this is, I mean, obviously that's a breakout week right there. I do believe you're going to go higher. In time, HZen, you got a date with Destiny at $16, $27 and beyond that, right? So a pullback to prices below $5, that's what I'm calling for. Nothing to be worried about. You should have your fork and knife ready to eat, man. Bib on, right? Safety features active on your dining chair. I don't know, man, because when you buy down here, it's gonna be phenomenal, right? If you buy down there. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I do believe that the price will probably move just below $5. I genuinely think it will. You're at 684 now, so. But overall, pretty bullish looking, pretty bullish Grayscale trust. Yeah, looks good. Probably going to fall off a cliff this week, though, and that's okay. Zcash, and we'll finish this bad boy up. Some Zcash and chill. How much Zcash they got? Watch this be another one they have stockpiled. No, they don't. They don't have it stockpiled, and that's okay. All right, so we'll start off with Zcash, the underlying asset, having a bit of a bearish engulfing candle to start the day. 18 hours left in the day. A lot of time left. A lot of time to pull back. It's down 9% right now. It did that in the first 6 hours. In the next 18 hours, it could just go back up. I doubt it does. I do think that this is the beginning of what a lot of coins are going to experience, which is the kind of first pullback that we've really seen since November, since the end of October, right? Since like those times. It's going to be the first pullback that we've seen in a while. I think across the board, we're going to see like 20 to 30% pullbacks for the average altcoin. But it does appear they've broken out of this like relative little like higher low trend that you had in your RSI, right? These like higher lows here. It does appear the higher high, higher low there. It appears that you've broken out of that. You had a little lower high look here. Let's see, you get higher high. Kind of a double top. I don't know if that's a higher high, but it's close enough. That is bearish divergence, and you were overbought. Bearish divergence, and now you're not in the overbought zone anymore. You're definitely going to retrace from here. So let's take a low to a high. 236,382. You're at 67.50 right now. I would expect an overall move down. Let's see, from at least there. Maybe you do. I don't think you stop at 60. I think you go all the way down to 50. So from your current price, I would expect that you drop another 25% from your price that you were at on Friday. That'd be like here, essentially. Drop 28% overall. So ZCSH might drop 28% or more, which makes sense because that takes you back to your previous areas of resistance. If you dropped or more, instead of 28%, you did the or more, maybe you would just come down and you would form another higher low in this series of higher lows here, right? Something like that. So that's a nice look. Yeah, I think ZCSH probably pulls back to about 550. You're at 750 now. 550 or lower is what I would expect for ZCSH. Easy enough, yeah. Overbought, bearish divergence on ZCSH, moving up higher, volume dying down, gonna move lower, right? You blew up, you're gonna come back to where that blow up started, where the breakout move broke out from. That's my expectation. Just below $5. I don't have anything else that I want to say other than, you know, maybe for ZCSH we can project out where you're gonna go after you pull back, probably to $14, $21, right? I would think that that's end of the year, end of January stuff. Like genuinely, that's probably where you're going to be. So if not, at least above $10 by the end of the year. So exciting things when considering that you'll be below half this price here probably this week, if not very early next week. So yeah, very exciting things. Out of all these charts, the one that interested me the most was the HSEN one. It definitely interests me the most, I think, for potential growth to come. LTCN and BCHG, of course, also look good. And then ETCG, that was just interesting. Why are they stockpiling? What do they know? Is it just a goof? Did somebody in the Grayscale, like higher up chain, the chain of command, did they just believe? I'm gonna get us off of these blinding white screens, man. Wow. Did they just believe more in ETC for some reason, and that was just like a personal mistake? Or do they know something we don't know? I'm going to do some research. I hope anybody who's hearing this right now, if you know anything, just let me know, because you don't know until you know, man. And I'm curious, man. We could get the word out there. Isn't it weird? They've got so much ETC for their ETCG trust. They've got a lot. They've got more. They've almost got as much as they do in their BCH and their LTC trusts. And yet it's the only one on a discount. Like, why is that? They got to be selling it, right? They're the reason it's at a discount. They're trying to offload, maybe. I don't know. I don't have a good reason for that. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video. I'm gonna end the video instead of scratching my head and just wasting your time. So thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves and be prepared. Be prepared for this next week or this next 2 weeks to be bloody. It'll be quick. It'll be ferocious. You'll know. And I'll end the video with this. I probably lost most of you, but this is, I think, a good philosophy. And it's something that didn't make sense to me whenever I started trading, whenever I started investing. I'd hear people say this who'd been doing it for years, longer than I'd ever even heard of crypto, right? And they'd say stuff like this, what I'm about to say, and it just didn't make sense to me. But they would say they have more fun on the way down, and that never made sense to me. But I get it now. I have a lot more fun on the way down. Only like I have the most fun in a bull market, okay? But whenever we have these pullbacks come, I don't get scared. I don't freak out. It's like fun. It's like fun because you have an opportunity to buy. It's a little bit of volatility and excitement in the markets. You know, it brings life. Even a downside move does bring life. And then it's also funny. It's entertaining because you just see everybody run around like they've got like they lost their head. And all we've done is just like put in higher lows or do something that's significantly beneficial to the chart. But lows, the down moves in bear markets or in bull markets, those are where the opportunities lie. So that's why I think if you're a more sophisticated trader or an investor, you see these dips come along, you're in that buy the dip kind of mentality. You look at it for what it is. It's an opportunity. It's more fun. But that kind of drop is only fun for me in bull market situations, right? Whenever it's in like the end of a bear market, it's like every drop here, it kills me. I'm like, just move up already. Come on, validate me. Tell me that we're not going to go lower, you know. But here, all these drops, they're fun. I don't know. All right, I'll end it with that. Take care. Bye bye.